Welcome back. We are here for another episode. This one is pretty fun. This one is, it's so much has happened. I just wanted to, jump on here. I think it's been like a complete whirlwind this part of the year. There's lots going on, like for me personally, in my athletic life, also in like my professional life. It just feels like there's been such a big like universal shift happening, which I'm really trying to embrace as much as possible. So I thought that, my big commitment is to try my very best over the next however long to try and like record at least once a day, once a week, try and be on here like once a week, get an episode recorded once a week. That's kind of like a specific goal of mine at the moment with this kind of like long form content, sharing life, sharing, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. Obviously where I'm recording this right now, depending on when you're listening in, watching in, it's been Las Vegas major, and I released an episode around, what really truly happened out there and how I'm kind of like overcoming that, how I'm, what my thoughts and processes were around that race. That can help others to, really relate and to overcome their own kind of like demons in the space of training and competing and showing up and being in the spotlight and all of the stuff that brings as well, when also trying to juggle and hold down, family life and home life and the things that go on. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed the Vegas episode that I put up recently. Today I thought we could have some fun. I did a Q&A. It's more of like a Q&A on my social channel. So what I did was I basically just put together not a live Q&A, but I put out like a Q&A for questions essentially. So what I thought I would do is do like a bit of a kind of live answer. I haven't actually gone through too many of these. I thought I'd just literally save it for when I'm on here. So yeah, it's quite nice actually reading through some of these questions, because some are Hyrox related, some are training related and stuff like that. But I put so much content out there about training and everything like that anyway. So it's been quite nice to see some of these questions are a little more personal. I guess for some of you guys who are kind of following my channel and you've subscribed quite recently, or you're following my socials recently, I guess it's maybe like a little bit of an opportunity, a little bit of like a get to know you kind of thing, where I can, answer these and we'll just go for it. As always, it does take a lot of time and effort to maintain social media content, presence, YouTube. So I would really appreciate if as many of you guys can like hit that subscribe button as possible, because it really does help like drive like the traffic, and it really makes it worthwhile to put these videos together and to find time in the week to really put together content that I want to spread and education I want to put out there and knowledge around everything. So yeah, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Okay, so let's get into this then. So I did this a few days ago, and as always, Jade then put up saying, I'm going to record it today. And here we are 4 days later. Life's taken hold, training's taken hold and everything. So I thought that I would do this now when I have a little bit of time. And then I'm actually about to head down to Maidstone to see my osteopath, because I actually have at the moment a little left ankle niggle, which is quite crazy actually. I think I personally think it's maybe an old football injury. So like when I was 19 potentially, it's probably the only bad injury I had ever, and it was a impact injury. I was running down the left hand wing, and their centre back come across and took me out. This foot was still planted on the floor, so she was like studs up, came in and like rolled my ankle, and it's never really been 100,000,000% right since. If I kind of overdo it sometimes, my mobility has never really gotten back to where it should be, so that can kind of cause a little bit of achy kind of, I was laughing with Bella and saying maybe it's arthritis, I'm getting old, but yeah. So right, let's get into some questions then. So this is the first question. It says, are you more extroverted or introverted, and what fills your cup back up? I really like that question. So I would definitely say that in my 20s, I was extrovert for sure, with an underlying pull to be introverted, if that makes sense. But I was an extrovert because I had this kind of mask on, and I used to kind of like really, you know, almost like overcompensate. So I would very much be like in a room, I'm here, hey everyone. But I would say that like nowadays I'm a lot more introvert for sure. I like my own company. I would much prefer a night in than a night out. And yeah, I would definitely say that I'm much more introvert. What fills your cup back up? That's all still in the same question. Filling my cup back up, I would definitely say recovery fills my cup. So spending time in the sauna, actually going to therapy fills my cup up. So even though it's quite a hard process sometimes and quite an emotional, vulnerable process, the type of work I do, the somatic breath work, diving into the inner work, the world of spirituality and, you know, energy, definitely fills my cup back up for sure, and also creates like capacity, if that makes sense. And then of course family, my babies, my dogs fill my cup up every single day. Yeah, being with friends. So, you know, I've got very few very good friends. I know lots of people, yeah, but I trust very few. So yeah, I have a really tight network of really good friends. So that fills my cup a lot. I enjoy reading. I enjoy researching. So all of those things that I guess are away from being an athlete fill my cup up, because I think sometimes being an athlete can really fill your cup sometimes, but it can also leave your cup pretty empty as well. I think when anyone that's a coach out there will relate to me as well, when I say that, you know, your cup can be empty sometimes because you're kind of, you know, filling everybody else's cup. So yeah, those are the kinds of things that fill my cup. Nature is a big one for me as well. I'm not really a sit on the sofa, watch a film or Netflix kind of gal. Every so often maybe, but yeah, I much prefer to like go outside, go for a long walk, go get a tea and walk. Yeah, so I'd say that kind of stuff fills my cup up for sure. Okay, let's go. Are you interested in any other races apart from Hyrox, or is that the main focus right now? This year, little secret, I'm going to let you into a little secret here. I am actually signed up to the first ever DECA that's coming to the UK. So I know that they obviously host them in some of the DECA affiliate gyms at the moment. For anyone that isn't sure what DECA is, it was around before Hyrox. It's Spartan's version of a functional fitness competition. If you are used to the Hyrox stimulus, you'll definitely love DECA. You've got, I think, 10 components rather than 8. So similar layout to Hyrox, like you run, you do an exercise, you run, you do a movement. But you've got 10 of them, but the movements are much kind of faster. So they'll be over much quicker. So for example, 500 meter row, 500 meter ski, box overs, you've got like medicine ball sit-ups, you've got ram lunges, you've got ram burpees, farmer's carry, tank push and pull, which is slightly different to a sled because it actually has wheels on it. So yeah, DECA's insane. So if you haven't experienced DECA, definitely do it. So I have a DECA competition that's actually and actually as well, just on touching on DECA, if you are somebody who like, maybe you're much faster over, let's say half an hour, there's like three areas of DECA. So you've got like DECA Fit, DECA Strong and DECA Mile. DECA Strong, imagine taking the components of Hyrox, but taking all of the running out. So it's like back-to-back component. DECA Mile is a mile run in total. So there's a very short run between each component. I think something like 160 meters, so it's like a sprint, and then you've got DECA Mile, which is DECA Fit, which is essentially longer distances between the stations, a bit similar to Hyrox. So yeah, check that out. I'm signed up to do it in September competitively. I think it's at a stadium, so that's going to be really epic. It's been around for years and years, but mainly in America and Europe as well. What else am I doing? I am very much still interested in Spartan racing. Probably not on the same level as Hyrox, but I do really, really enjoy the nature of Spartan, and Hyrox training has definitely carried over very well, so I can just kind of like turn my hand to Spartan. I still do a lot of trail running. So yeah, and interestingly, like when I don't do a lot of trail running is when my ankle flares up. So obviously there's something about my ankle that likes the mobility and the stability of running trails. Okay, I love your focus on nutrition and quality of food. Good. Do you take any supplements? Absolutely, yes. I'll actually link the supplements I take below. Where you source your supplements is vital for quality. Like nothing on the high street is probably going to be of a quality that is going to benefit you. Like that's me just being really, really honest and upfront, right? Like you've got to source your supplements quality well. And it's taken me a lot of years to actually be able to source them 100% well. Some of my go-tos, again, I'll link them below. But this says here, do you take supplements like creatine? So yeah, I take creatine. Creatine is actually something I've only really started to take recently. And I noticed that I did actually retain a little bit of water when I first started taking it. Haven't really felt the benefits yet, but I have only been taking it for probably like 2 weeks. I take five grams. So yeah, I just literally put it in water with some electrolytes in the morning. What else do I take? I take a whole host. I take Fulvic Minerals because, you know, the minerals we get nowadays are, well, we don't essentially, like the soil now is churned over so much for mass production of crops that essentially all of the soil is lost. Like then they're spraying it with pesticides, herbicides, extra, like the soil is just, it doesn't have the mineral content that it used to have. So it's really important to actually supplement in a good quality mineral. I like Fulvic Minerals. What else do I take? I take vitamin C, I take a B complex, I take multivitamin, which has got everything from ginseng to magnesium. I take milk thistle, probiotics. The timing of these supplements is super important, and where you are in your seasonal approach is important. So I take different supplements in the summer to the supplements I take in the winter. Okay, because we'll be depleted in different ones based on where we are in our kind of like link with nature. So where we sit inside of that seasonal approach is gonna mean that we are deficient at certain points and stuff like that. I take a vitamin D supplement in the winter, for example, but in the summer and the spring, I do a lot of traveling. I don't. If I am coming down with a flu or a cold, or I feel like when I'm traveling, the plane makes me snuffly or whatever it is, then I will supplement in what they call colloidal silver, which is where you spray it up your nose. It's nature's antibacterial, and your throat as well. So there's lots of different, it's not like a one size fits all approach with supplements, I don't believe. So any coach out there that's going, you should be taking this, 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 and this, and giving it to the masses, I don't believe in that. I think that every single individual has their own genetic makeup. Every single individual has their own requirements and deficiencies. So it's super important to work with a coach that understands you and also understands what you might be depleted in based on your symptoms, right? So if someone's not sleeping effectively, it could be that they're low in zinc, or it could be that they're low in magnesium. If you're working with a male athlete, for example, and his testosterone levels are slightly lower, so he's not making the gains that he wants to be, then it's really important to look at some of the testosterone synthesizing supplements that help with testosterone synthesis. Okay, so zinc supplement, again, magnesium, and all of the foundational ones that are going to allow for the body to produce testosterone. So supplements is a very, very unique approach when it comes athlete to athlete. We teach all of this inside my Athlete 360 project, by the way. So just reach out to me on Instagram, and we can chat. Just send me the word 360 and I'll get you the information for that if you need some help on stuff like that on a deeper level. Okay, general approach to race day week in terms of training. So that's quite vague. My general approach to training definitely changes and alters based on where I am, based on what I'm working towards, right? So closer to a race, my intensity is high, my volume is slightly lower. Further out from a race, I might be hitting up an accumulation phase where my volume of aerobic capacity work is a lot higher and my volume of strength might be slightly lower. So that really, yeah, that's like that's a little bit hard to answer. Right now, as it stands with a general approach to my training, on a Monday, I'm doing threshold work, double threshold actually. It'll be a run threshold and some kind of erg threshold, and also a performance preparation, could be 20, 25 minutes, but that'll be like literally zone 3. On a Tuesday is always my long run day and some strength work, lower body split. On a Wednesday, it's again a long easy run with some pace pickups, and then it will be upper body split. And then inside there will be a preparation session as well. It'll be about half an hour. It could be like an EMOM. It's moving through the Hyrox movements to build that strength endurance, but not balls to the wall race stimulus. On a Thursday is always a really heavy day in terms of intensity, so it'll be like VO2 max work or threshold work, but higher thresholds at double threshold. So whatever I didn't do erg-wise on the Monday will be what I do on the Thursday. So if I do ski repeats threshold on a Monday, I'll do row repeats on a Thursday. And that will also have some added strength work in there as well. Could be single leg, unilateral strength and push-pull. Friday is my active recovery day. Saturday is always my big training day. That will be my race replicant. So that will be my race ready session. That will be my Hyrox specific 70 minutes. And I am treating it like race day basically. And, you know, changing and altering and testing and trialing different race efficiency, race techniques and things like that. That will be my time to really kind of explore and experiment. If I have time on a Saturday, I might also do an evening easy flush out, like just a 20-minute bike. Sunday is my long run day, and I'll always try and get to the forest for that, out in nature, because a lot of my training, when I used to train for Spartan, I was always outdoors, whereas with Hyrox, I'm always indoors. So I still like to keep that dose in there. Sometimes on a Thursday when I do speed or VO2 max, I'll do it at the track to get outside as well. But my longer run is always going to be sort of like 18K maybe on a Sunday. And then I might do some, you know, heavy mobility focus on Sunday afternoon. And that's if there's not like a date night or something planned, which sometimes comes first. How do you make sure not to overtrain? So you might know, if you follow me, you might know already, I'm not into gadgets and electronics and things like that. I much rather be in tune with my body than rely on technology. So for me, I'm always monitoring my heart rate. In terms of overtraining, I know that if my recovery processes aren't spot on, so for example, if I'm not saunaing regularly and cold plunging regularly, if I'm not hydrated enough, if I'm not fueling correctly, if my sleep has been a little bit off and I'm not hyperbaricking regularly, which are my kind of main recovery points, then I know that I'm at the risk of not overtraining, but not adapting between training sessions. So I won't be recovering enough. So that's kind of like number one. I alter my training based on the recovery comes first, essentially. So I'm looking at my recovery. If some of them are out, then I'll actually pull my training back for a few days until I get back into some level of routine of recovery. In terms of overtraining, it's all about listening to your body. I regularly manually take my heart rate throughout when I first wake up, and sometimes throughout the day, but mainly when I first wake up, I'll check it 3 times. If my heart rate's sitting like close to like 6 to 8 beats per minute above my normal resting, I sometimes a little bit of an indication that I might be slightly overworked or under recovered. But if you are someone who has caffeine, I'm not, but if you are someone who has caffeine, it's really difficult to tell, because what you might find is actually your heart rate has increased like 10 beats per minute at rest, or 10 beats per minute when you're doing an easy run. So never listen to your data if you are having quite a lot of caffeine, because that will, you know, it's affecting your nervous system, it's affecting your adrenals, it's affecting your heart rate. So yeah, so just be aware of that. But you know, the normal signs of overtraining are you know, feeling extra hungry or losing your appetite. So one or the other. You might be losing mass, so you actually might be losing muscle, it's sort of like catabolic essentially. maybe not sleeping, so you might find that your sleep is disrupted. You might be waking up. You could have, females especially that are overtraining, you might have night sweats. You might suffer from red syndrome. You might, your menstrual cycle might be starting to kind of like go a little bit hiccup. So really always listen to those signs, because before you know it, like, you want to avoid burnout before we get there, right? So listen to those signs, be in tune with your body. And if you're not an athlete that is in tune with your body, it's something that I would definitely recommend, is to start becoming attuned to your body and knowing those things as well. Okay. Your advice on being confident in who you are in any crowd. Wow. This is something that I've done a lot of work around, because for me, confidence comes from self-worth and loving self, right? You have to have a lot of self-love before you can be confident in who you are. And that can be, wounding from childhood. It could be being told you're not good enough. It could be, how you've been treated in some way that's made you feel not worthy. So I believe that the first step is to create safety. Okay, because there's a lot of people that are out there who are not safe. They don't feel safe in their own body. They are safe, but they don't feel safe in their body. So I think the first step is to create some level of safety, right? And that can be done in a therapeutic way. It can be done via therapy. It can be done with practices. It can be done with journaling. It can be done with inner child work. So, reconnecting with the younger version of you as the wiser version. And that's a beautiful journey to go on. But I would say that, I still now struggle with confidence. Interestingly, not in life, but more in athletic life. So I'm very, very confident, walking into a room in normal day-to-day life, very, very confident in who I am and what I bring and, those things. But when it comes to like athletic pursuit, I'm very, very confident until it gets to a pressured environment where there's a lot of eyes and a lot of exposure. And then sometimes what tends to happen is, a pattern I'm trying to break is I shrink, right? So I purposely shrink myself, which I want to stop doing, right? Because, I want confidence. There is a very fine line between confidence and ego, by the way. So always have that little check-in with yourself as you're growing as a person. But I think that the first thing is to create safety in yourself, right? And then you can start to self-soothe, and you can also start to self-regulate, and you can start to self-love. So I think the first part of being confident in who you are and what you bring is to love yourself and not seek externally for praise, not seek externally for love, not seek externally for validation. All of that is within. And then whatever connection, whatever relationship you have externally, or the connections you make, the friendships you build, the bonds you build, those people then add something to your life, right? But that's your choice, right? That's your choice. You're not seeking it from someone else. I hope that makes sense. So that's my advice on being confident in who you are, is to actually know who you are, and go on a little path of self-discovery. If you can't answer that question, who am I? And you can't look yourself in the eye in the mirror and say, I love you, then I definitely think that that's something worth exploring, for sure. Okay, let's get some more. I've got time for a couple more here. What job would you do if you weren't a coach and athlete? Wow, okay, I love that. Okay, for a starter, my job definitely isn't an athlete. Not yet. I wish it was, but it's not. Sponsors within Hyrox at the moment definitely don't fund enough, I don't think, for a lot of athletes to become like full-time. So it is very much self-funded, which I think is why a lot of Hyrox athletes who are, at higher levels are trying to create, content and, all of those things, content creation and things like that, so they can kind of build businesses and et cetera, et cetera. But in terms of what job would you do if you weren't a coach and athlete, I don't think I've ever spoken about this. I would definitely 1,000,000%. If money was no object, by the way, I would have a huge 100-acre facility for rescue dogs. That would be like the dream. I might look back on this in 10 years time and I'll be like, you done it. That would be what it would do if money was no object. But in terms of an actual career path, it would definitely be property. And actually, it's something that alongside being a coach, being a mentor, and being an athlete, I actually am involved in property as well. So that's super exciting. So yeah, I would be a lot deeper and more involved in property as a full-time if I didn't enjoy what I do, which is mentorship, education, etc., etc. You have very different sponsors to most influencers in Hyrox. How come? Okay, that's an interesting one. I think alignment is the biggest word. I can answer that question with just one word, really. Alignment and not swaying. There's a lot of kind of influencers who are offered a paycheck or like an annual upfront lump sum from, a company that maybe, they align with. But the truth of the matter is, in a few of the offers I've been offered, I have turned down because they don't feel in alignment with who I am holistically, who I am spiritually, who I am as a coach, as a mentor, as somebody who has big purpose around optimizing health and things like that. So for me, just because a company offers me money to go with them and be sponsored by them, I have made those decisions to not in the past. So for me, like, I do have sponsors, but they're very much in alignment with me as an athlete. They support who I am, and what I do, and who I serve, and that for me is really, really important. So Bulldog Gear, shout out to you guys. Those guys have supported me through and through, all the way from my roots of Spartan racing up. Hilltop Honey, just because, again, I'm not just leaning to them because, I'm leaning to them because they support my whole ethos around health optimization, right? And Puma. So yeah, you won't find me being sponsored by, at the moment anyway, and many like energy drinks or anything like that, just because I don't drink them. And that I don't lean on energy drinks as an athlete. I don't rely on them for as stimulant and things like that. So for me, yeah, that's a really, really big one for me. Who inspires you to continue to this day to inspire and help others? What a question, Jodie. Wow, what inspires you to continue to this day to inspire and help others? I would say that I am inspired by me. So I actually inspire myself, how I continue to show up. Ronnie at the moment, like at the present moment we're speaking now, Ronnie, my baby boy, is inspiring me, just seeing how he's pulling through as much as he can, which has been a really emotional journey at the moment. He's a dog, by the way, if you're new, but he is my son. So that inspires me. I think I'm always very inspired by my mentors. So I truly believe in the importance of having mentors and leaders and people in your corner, and surrounding yourself in areas of your life where you need support and you need someone in your corner. So my mentors continually inspire me. My therapist, Matt, inspires me. I have a great system. I have a great support network, and that I'll forever be thankful for. But I would definitely say to this day, my nan inspires me. She was there every football game, come rain, come shine, come snow. She was there to support me through anything I did. She sadly passed in COVID, just before COVID. But yeah, I'm inspired by so many different people for different reasons as well. So I continue to show up and inspire others. I think sometimes in my own athletic endeavors, I haven't always had the best coach. So way back in my football days, I was, I had experiences with like a negative coaching experience with a coach, as did our whole football team. And I think it's taught me how you should coach, right? And how you should create connection and how you should guide and lead. Like, leadership is huge for me. Like, one of my huge purposes and values is leadership. And I think, you have to lead. Like, if you are destined on this earth to be a leader, and you have all of the power to lead, and you have the knowledge and you have the love to lead. It's important to be a light in a space of darkness sometimes. So that's my inspiration right there. What is your 360 athlete project? So our 360 athlete project is bringing in a holistic edge to allow for athletes or high performing people to level up and elevate their performance through another level of consciousness, right? Consciousness that is unlocked around connection, around work inward. So like our inner performance, our mental game needs just as much training as our physical. You can have the best training program in the world, right? And if your mental training isn't on par with it, then you're never going to perform optimally. You're always going to hit that glass ceiling and never really break through into that extra 15-20% that you can always find when you have that ability to mentally train. So inward performance through consciousness, really, like, you know, retraining, reprogramming, undoing old patterns, getting rid of limiting self-beliefs about ourselves as an athlete. So the Athlete 360 was really inspired because of the journey I've been on as an athlete that has allowed me to take my performance from a place of like feeling stuck, right? Like no matter how much training I did, no matter how much effort I put in the gym, no matter how much I ate well, like I always got to this sticky point of like, I know there's more, but I can't get there. And I would burn out and I would feel mentally drained, and I'd like beat myself up and go through this cycle over and over and over again. And it wasn't until, probably like 2.5 years ago when I started a big inward journey, I started to actually realize like, no wonder you couldn't get, your 103 you always wanted, which I'm hitting now regularly in the pro, which makes me so happy. But no wonder I couldn't get there, right? Because, I had this kind of limiting self-belief. I had this lack of confidence. I had this inability to break old patterns and program behavior. So for me, the 360 project was looking at the athlete as a whole, right? 360 being the whole athlete. And we take care of the training. So full systemized training program for Hyrox that's helped loads of our athletes get to world championship level performance. We look at the nutrition aspect. Again, not surface level nutrition. I'm not just teaching what so many other coaches are. I just eat more, maybe you're just not eating enough. Just eat some more. Just up your carbs. Like that shit is surface level. We need to understand like athletes with autoimmune problems going on, right? Like skin problems, asthma, eczema, psoriasis. Like some athletes are the most unhealthy people I know on this planet. And it's because they think they can outtrain health optimizing decisions. So what we need to be thinking about when we're working with athletes as coaches is, how do we optimize that athlete's foundations, right? How do we make their body a vessel of health so that it can handle increased training load, so that it can handle optimal recovery? And it's not just about eating more protein and more carbs. Like they're the basics, they're the simple parts, right? We have to understand like what food combination strategy is going to be best for that athlete. How do we lower their intake of inflammatory foods so that they can, essentially so that they can recover from gut health issues, right? Are they taking on board too many seed oils, too many rancid oils that's causing their whole body to be inflamed? Therefore, they continue to experience niggles and injuries. So this whole Athlete 360 is going deeper and deeper and deeper than ever. It's pulling back layers of performance focused goals. Like it's looking at pulling back the layers and going, okay, we need to lay some new foundations down. We need to go inward. That's not all. That's the training and nutrition side. We have like a full recovery protocol. We have a huge holistic angle of delivering masterclasses to athletes inside this project, where we work through everything inward. So we work through the mental performance, mindset, attachment, wounding, trauma and the links to performance, and how we can really optimize that athlete's journey. It's really, 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 truly exciting. Our first launch, our intake actually sold out within 48 hours of launching the spaces. And our next intake is happening soon, which is super exciting. But if you are looking to level up, you know where I am on Instagram. You can literally find my Instagram link here, and you can just send me a message with 360 if this is something you feel you need help with. there's also another question on here that says, what is your next goal of this season? So this is obviously 24-25 season when we're recording this now. My biggest goal the last week or so was to emotionally overcome where pulling out of the race in Vegas and DNFing took me, because it took me on a bit of an emotional journey. So it's been kind of healing myself and holding myself through that process, especially after having such great results last year. In December, I consistently hit 2 103s in the pro, which were really good times. Amsterdam was okay, got 104 there, Nice 104, Dubai 102. So last year was a really good year for results. And then this was my first race of the season, being my second Elite 15 major. And I had to DNF the race and ended up quite poorly as well. So yeah, it's kind of, I've had to go back to the drawing board of like, you know, not keep spinning why it happened, but you know, how do I move forward from that? So there is the potential that I could be racing in the next Elite 15 at Glasgow. If not, it will definitely be Barcelona. I have my pro ticket already secured for Chicago World Championships, so that's kind of like what it looks like at the moment for me. So yeah, I hope that you guys have taken a lot from this. I think there's a few more questions, but I am running out of time. I do have to get down to my osteopath. So listen, I hope you enjoyed this. As always, for me to be able to continue to inspire and continue to make this kind of content, I do need you guys to hit that subscribe. It always helps to boost the subscribers. I have a goal of trying to get to 10k subscribers on YouTube, so I'd love to see if we can do that for sure. And yeah, as always, I will on to the next one.